Another suspect will appear in court in Senekal today. This follows public violence that broke out in the small Free State town 2 weeks ago. The 33-year-old man is facing several charges, including attempted murder and malicious damage to property. Protests broke out in the small town following the killing of a farm manager. Aviwe Mtila is watching this story for us. Aviwe, we've seen multiple protests, both at the appearance of the first suspect related to the torching of that police van and the storming of court buildings. We're also expected to see the two suspects charged with the murder of Brendan Horner appearing in that Senekal court tomorrow. So Senekal continues to be a focus of tensions. Are protests planned for today?
Well, it's fairly quiet, I must say, but the police are already preparing for the unknown. As you can see just behind me, there's a barbed wire here, just some 100 meters away from that magistrate court, ready to cordon off the street in itself, heading to the magistrate court should anything happen. And just on my left, this side, there's already a police nyala here, and police have been visible just around this area, but it is fairly quiet. No people in sight, no groupings, just as yet, as we understand that 33-year-old businessman is expected to appear at the Senekal Magistrate Court. Of course, this follows the ongoing riots that we've seen and the protests initially charged for that original protest just after the murder of Brendan Horner, where we understand he was killed. But the suspects that are expected to appear also tomorrow here. But it is fairly quiet outside the court, but the police are just preparing themselves for anything that might happen at the stage.
Aviwe, this is the first appearance of this second suspect. Is the court expected to address the issue of bail today?
It should be expected to address that issue. I understand that 52-year-old Andre Pina has already appeared here for a similar offence dating back to that initial protest. But just in the days that I've been here over the weekend, I got to speak to the community who shared some sentiments of the racial tensions, especially the black communities that they faced here in Senekal, asking just for a united way forward from both the farmers and the workers. But I have also had an opportunity to speak to Robert Horner, who is Brandon's father. Broken, and while also broken, is also infuriated for the senseless killing of his son, telling me that if they're ready, if they want war, they're ready. But he was also calling just for quiet and calm, also calling for South Africans just to find a way to live together in the land. But he is obviously visibly broken. He was the last person, in fact, to interact and speak with Brendan Horner. He was helping, Brendan Horner was in fact helping him on that 1st of October, leaving his place, going home, but he never arrived home. We understand that's where that senseless murder happening, also only being found on the Friday, the 2nd of October, the day after, found tied up with stab wounds littered all over his body. We also understand the post-mortem saying that he suffered the death because of the strangulation that also happened there.
Aviwe, it's a highly emotive issue. Politicians have been accused of hijacking the issue to make a point. What did Brendan Horner's father say about the politicization of farm attacks?
You know, it was quite interesting that he hasn't even been in the media glaze. I mean, the family itself, I met them yesterday as they were going to visit the exact spot where Brendan Horner was killed, well, found tied up there just in a pole. That spot being some 500 meters away just from the home there. He was quite impressed that, in fact, this has gotten the world attention that it's got, because he says that the issues around the brutal killings and the senseless killings of farmers need to be addressed. But he does want a united front. He didn't want to touch specifically on the ongoing protests and what has been happening, but he does want South Africans to unite. He was even mentioning how he grew up in the Northwest Province with his grandfather, their grandfather adopting a black child and who grew up to be his best friend. So he couldn't understand the senseless killing. In fact, wanting that, preferring it to have it happen to himself rather than his 21-year-old son.